Hey everyone, if you're looking for an in-depth look at Flyers memorabilia, then I got you covered with a show called Flyers Corner exclusively on the Timmy Flyersguy YouTube channel every Wednesday.
Hey everybody, it's me, Timmy Flyersguy, and welcome to another edition of the Flyersguys Top 10. This will be my final episode of this season. I will be back in November to bring you the next season. But in today's episode here on the Flyersguys Top 10, I'll be counting down I'll be counting down the top 10 best Philadelphia Flyers seasons. These are the seasons that make people jump for joy, that make people yell, "Let's go Flyers!" These are the seasons in which this is what Flyers hockey is all about. The excitement, the passion, the determination of 10 of the best Philadelphia Flyers seasons you will see on this countdown. And without further ado, we're going to get into the countdown. So get ready, folks, because we're going to count down the top 10 best Philadelphia Flyers seasons. Let's roll the footage. Starting off at number 10, the 1988 Starting off at number 10, the 1995-1996 Philadelphia Flyers season. The reason why I put this on the countdown because this was the last season that the Philadelphia Flyers would be playing at the Spectrum. During that season, the Flyers had a pretty good record that season. They were playing some pretty damn good hockey that season. Eric Lindros had another great season and was dynamic in the playoffs, along with his teammates John LeClaire, Michael Renberg, and many of the great Philadelphia Flyers of the 95-96 Philadelphia Flyers season. The Philadelphia Flyers had a game where they honored the memories of the Spectrum by bringing out all the old Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies, and all the great players that paved the way of success for the Philadelphia Flyers. Despite getting eliminated in the second round of the playoffs at the hands of the Florida Panthers, the Philadelphia Flyers, this was just the beginning for the Philadelphia Flyers. The sky was the limit, for the Philadelphia Flyers that season. And now we get into our number 9 pick on this countdown. At number 9, the 1994-1995 Philadelphia Flyers. Now this season was exciting. This season was very exciting for the Philadelphia Flyers. Eric Lindros played some of the best hockey he ever played. John LeClaire, Mark Recchi, and unsung hero known as Kevin Haller gave the Flyers some exciting moments. The Philadelphia Flyers ended up becoming Atlantic Division champions with a victory over the Devils in overtime. Flyers made it to the playoffs. They made it to the playoffs. In the first round, their first opponent in the first round, they faced off against the Buffalo Sabres. Flyers were able to beat the Buffalo Sabres very handily in that series. The Sabres had no match for the Philadelphia Flyers' great offense. Then the Flyers ended up eliminating the New York Rangers in the second round. They swept the Rangers. And Kevin Haller scored an overtime game-winning goal in that series against the Rangers. Then, Flyers made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Despite losing to the New Jersey Devils, it was still a damn good season for the Philadelphia Flyers. At number 8, the 1999-2000 Philadelphia Flyers season. This season, although filled with much heartbreak, the passing of Dmitry Serteshny, the passing of Flyers announcer and Flyers Hall of Famer Gene Hart. Despite the heartbreaks of this season, and despite the nagging concussions of Eric Lindros, this Flyers team really persevered and did everything they could to propel themselves into greatness. In this season, the Flyers fought back from all kinds of adversity, making the playoffs into 2000. The Flyers had a thrilling series with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and a thrilling Game 4, which saw the 5 overtimes, a 5 overtime game, on which the Flyers won with a goal by Keith Primo. The Flyers' first opponent that year was the, how did they play first? Hold on a second. I think the Flyers' first opponent was the Buffalo Sabres, which they were able to beat. And the Flyers went on to the next round to face off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We all remember the 5 overtime game where Keith Primo scored the game-winning overtime goal, propelling the Flyers into the Eastern Conference Finals against the familiar foe, the New Jersey Devils. Despite getting knocked out in that round, and despite the heartbreak of Lindros taking that hit from Scott Stevens, still the 99-2000 season showed that the Flyers were not going to let adversity stop them. Although adversity finally caught up to them in the third round, the Flyers still proved that they weren't going to let anything stop them from making the postseason that year. And at number 8, the 1999-2000 Philadelphia Flyers season. At number 7, the inaugural season of the Philadelphia Flyers, the 1976-1968 Philadelphia Flyers. You remember that team? You had guys like Doug Favell, Bill Soderman. Guys like Doug Favell, Ed Snyder, chairman, Louis Gotti, Simone Olay, and all the greats of the 1976, 1967, 1968 Philadelphia Flyers season. This was the beginning of this was the beginning of the Philadelphia Flyers. As the general manager, Keith Allen and Ed Snyder teamed up to bring Flyers hockey to the city of Philadelphia. This was also the year that the Spectrum was built and the Philadelphia Flyers inaugural season in 1967-68 officially began. The Flyers became Western Division champions in that season, becoming a first-place team. Unfortunately, they were knocked out by the St. Louis Blues, but this was the season that was only the beginning of many great Philadelphia Flyers moments. So number 7, 1967, 1968 Philadelphia Flyers. At number 6, the 1988-1989 Philadelphia Flyers season. In this season, we saw Ron Hextall score a goal in the playoffs. The Flyers knocked out the Washington Capitals in the first round, knocked out the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second round, but unfortunately lost to the Montreal Canadiens in the third round, where goaltender Ron Hextall, in defense of his teammate Brian Propp, went after Chris Chelios. This ended up giving Hextall a suspension going into the following season. But this was truly the season of the Flyers. They would never say die. They came back from adversity several times. Like when Hextall went down to injury in a game against the Penguins in the playoffs, where goaltender Ken Regan had the game of his life. In 1988-89, it was a great season for the Flyers, but it was officially the end of the 80s era for the Philadelphia Flyers as they ushered in a new era. I don't really want to talk about the early 90s for the Flyers. Those were some dark times for the Philadelphia Flyers. But this was the last great season of the 1980s for the Philadelphia Flyers. So number 6, the 1989 Philadelphia Flyers. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to do our next 5 picks on this countdown. So stay tuned, everyone. Flyers Guys Top 10. We'll be right back.
Join me, Timmy Flyersguy, as I tell you stories about my childhood, nostalgic stories from years ago, and more. I suggest you check out Throwback Flyersguy every Thursday exclusively on the Timmy Flyersguy YouTube channel. I really enjoy sharing my stories with all you great viewers and subscribers, so I suggest you check out Throwback Flyersguy exclusively on the Timmy Flyersguy YouTube channel.
Okay, and we're back. And at number 5, the 1984-1985 Philadelphia Flyers season. This was the season we saw goaltender Pelle Lindbergh shine. It's got one of the best seasons ever. This was also the year that Tim Kerr went on a tear, scoring 4 goals in a row. During the 84-85 season, the Flyers made the playoffs. They made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, facing off against Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers. Despite winning the first game against Edmonton, the Philadelphia Flyers were eliminated. But the Flyers gave Philadelphia a very exciting Philadelphia Flyers season. In 84, 85, and at number 5, the 1984-1985 Philadelphia Flyers season. And now we get into our number 4 pick. At number 4, the 2003-2004 Philadelphia Flyers season. This season was an up and down season. Flyers were dealt adversity many times. Injuries to players like Keith Freeman and Jeremy Roenick. The Flyers still stood tall and still did whatever they could. This was the season the Flyers had an epic bench clearing brawl with the Ottawa Senators in March of 2004. This was the year that we saw Antero Niittymaki have a brief stint with the Philadelphia Flyers. This was also the year we saw the Flyers make the playoffs. The Flyers eliminated the Devils in the first round, then eliminated the Toronto Maple Leafs. We all remember Jeremy Roenick's epic goal in overtime against the Toronto Maple Leafs, propelling the Flyers in the Eastern Conference Finals, where they would face off against the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was pretty much an even series for the Flyers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Flyers had an epic Game 6 as they faced off against the Tampa Bay Lightning, which saw Keith Freeman getting the tying goal and Simon Gagne getting the OT game winner for the Flyers. Despite losing in Game 7, it was still a very exciting Philadelphia Flyers season. A season that I will never forget, and a season where I lost my voice in Game 6, and we ended up going to the prom, and then going to the prom the year after, and having a very hoarse voice afterwards. I always remember this year. So number 4, the 2003-2004 Philadelphia Flyers season. At number 3, the 1986-87 Philadelphia Flyers season. Wow, what a season this was. We saw a rookie goaltender, Ron Hextall, shine. We also saw him score a goal against the Boston Bruins on December 8th, 1986. And this was the season that the Flyers were not going to be denied. The Flyers became Patrick Division champions that year. They were able to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, facing a familiar foe, Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers once again. Despite having a lot of their top players go out to injury, the Philadelphia Flyers weren't going to give up. They weren't going to stop, and they were going to give it their all in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Edmonton Oilers. We all can remember the epic goal from J.J. Daniel to get the Spectrum into a frenzy as the Flyers came from behind to beat the Edmonton Oilers in Game 6. Unfortunately, the Flyers lost in Game 7 to the Edmonton Oilers, but despite losing, Ron Hextall won the Vezina Trophy as best goalie that season. A very exciting season for the Philadelphia Flyers. And at number 3, the 1986-1987 Philadelphia Flyers season. And now we get into our number 2 pick. This is a double pick on this countdown. This is a double pick at number 2. Two seasons were tied at number 2 here on this countdown. And here was the first part of my number 2 pick. The 2009-2010 Philadelphia Flyers. I remember this season like it was yesterday. Who can forget the epic series win over the New Jersey Devils? The huge series comeback over the Boston Bruins. And the big, huge victory over the Montreal Canadiens in the Eastern Conference Finals, making the Flyers the 2010 Eastern Conference champions. This season started out great. Things started to get really bad for the team, but the Flyers were not going to give up. They were able to make the playoffs, and they eliminated the Devils in the first round, eliminated the Bruins by coming back from 3-0 to beat the Bruins to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. This epic playoff run started with a shootout win at the end of the season over the New York Rangers. Who can forget Brian Boucher stopping the puck and jumping up and down after getting the Flyers into the playoffs, despite losing in the Stanley Cup Finals. It was an epic Philadelphia Flyers season where the Flyers gave Philadelphia one hell of a show in 2009-2010. A season that started out great, got a little hairy in the mid-season. It ended up becoming a very exciting Philadelphia Flyers season in the end. And that is our first part of our number 2 pick. And here is part 2 of our number 2 pick, the 1996-1997 Philadelphia Flyers. This was the first year that the Coors Center was the Flyers officially played in their new arena, the Coors Center. This season was full of excitement. The Legion of Doom was kicking ass. Ron Hextall and Garth Snow were playing great in goal. And the Flyers made the playoffs in 1997. Their first opponent was the Pittsburgh Penguins. Flyers beat them. Their second opponent, the Buffalo Sabres. Flyers eliminated them. And then the Flyers faced off against Wayne Gretzky and the New York Rangers. The Philadelphia Flyers were able to finish off the New York Rangers, capturing the Eastern Conference Finals, capturing the Eastern Conference Championship. They were also Atlantic Division champions as well. Despite being swept by the Detroit Red Wings, this was a great season. This was a fun season, and it was exciting to watch. The ending may have been disappointing, but the way the Flyers got into the playoffs was pretty damn cool. So, at number 2, the dual pick of the 2009-2010 Philadelphia Flyers and the 96-97 Philadelphia Flyers. And now we're going to get into our number one pick. But before we do that, when we come back, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we are going to do our honorable mentions and our number one pick on this countdown. So stay tuned. The Flyersguys Top 10. We'll be right back.
Hey Flyers fans, are you craving Flyers hockey? Are you counting down to the first game of the season? Folks, get ready for a new season of Flyers pregame report. I will be covering Flyers preseason and Flyers regular season hockey in 2024 to 2005. So stay tuned for Flyers pregame report coming in 2024 to 2025. Hey everyone, it's me Timmy Flyersguy, and I have an announcement regarding Classic Flyers Theater. New episodes will be coming September 17th exclusively on the Timmy Flyersguy YouTube channel. So get ready for some more action-packed episodes of Classic Flyers Theater.
Before number one, but before we get to our number one pick, here are some honorable mentions. The 2019-2020 Philadelphia Flyers season. This season went from good to worse to extremely epic at the end. The Flyers had an up and down first part of the season, but in mid-season, this team really started to make strides. The Flyers went on a tear in the month of March, the month of February and March. And the Flyers were one of the best teams in the conference and one of the best teams in the league. They were fun to watch that season. Although this season dealt the Flyers some adversity, considering gave the Flyers some adversity as Oscar Lindblom was diagnosed with cancer that season. The Philadelphia Flyers played some of the best hockey. Things got a little weird at the end of the season when the season had to abruptly stop due to the pandemic. And hockey wasn't the same after that. All hockey teams had to play in one arena. The Eastern teams would play in the East. The Eastern Conference teams would play at Scotiabank Arena, and the Western Conference teams would play at Rogers Place, Edmonton. This was a strange season, and a season that did not start until August. It did not start until August. It was the summer of the Philadelphia Flyers. The season went from August all the way in to almost the month of September. The Flyers beat the Montreal Canadiens in the first round, but lost to the Islanders in 7 games in the second round. This was a heartbreaking ending, but it was a damn good season. It was one of the last great Philadelphia Flyers seasons, and the last time the Flyers made the playoffs in a while. The 1979-1980 Philadelphia Flyers, led by Coach Pat Quinn. This Flyers team showed a lot of heart and a lot of promise. This Flyers team made it to the playoffs, made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they faced off against the New York Islanders. Unfortunately, the Flyers Flyers were eliminated by the Islanders. The Islanders captured the Stanley Cup in 1980 due to a questionable offsides call. The Philadelphia Flyers were eliminated by the New York Islanders. Eliminated by the New York Islanders in the Stanley Cup Finals. This was a really good season for the Flyers. This was the season where they had that epic winning streak, and this was the season that Bobby Clark had scored an epic overtime goal against the Boston Bruins. This season was a pretty good season. A really great season as well. This was the last great season of the 1970s and beginning of the 1980s. And our final honorable mention, the 2011-2012 Philadelphia Flyers season. This season had a lot of promise, with new faces like Sean Couturier, Jake Voracek, Wayne Simmons, and more. This was the season we saw Scott Hartnell score 4 goals in a game, and this was the season where we saw an epic bench clearing brawl between the Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins in April of 2012. This season, the Flyers had a very good season. The Flyers in the playoffs in the first round faced off against the Pittsburgh Penguins. In games 1 and games 2, the Flyers came from behind to win both games. The Flyers won game 3, but lost in game 4, 8-2. The Flyers lost in game 5, but it ended up eliminating the Penguins in game 6. Who can remember the epic shift of Claude Giroux as he hit the big hit on Sidney Crosby and the goal that got things started for the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers eliminated the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games, but were eliminated by the New Jersey Devils. The Flyers won game 1 as Danny Briere got the game 1 overtime game-winning goal as the Flyers beat the Devils in game 1, but ended up losing the rest of the series in 5 games. And that's it for our honorable mentions. Now let's get into our number 1 pick on this countdown. Da-da-da-da. And this, my friend, is a double pick for number 1. Hold on a second. I get the back. Give me a minute. This is out of mention. Alright. Where is it? I can't find it. Hold on, folks. I gotta find that pick. Gotta find that pick. Hang on, folks. I'm sorry. I'm in the last video game. Hold on, I'm almost there. Okay, now we get into our number one pick, and this is a double pick on this countdown. First up, we got the 1973, 1974 Philadelphia Flyers. This was the era of the Broad Street Bullies, and this team was led by one of the greatest Philadelphia Flyers coaches of all time, Freddie the Fog Shiro. This was the year that the Flyers really started to shine, eliminating the Atlanta Flames in the first round, the New York Rangers in the second round, and beating the Blood and capturing their first Stanley Cup in Flyers history, backstopped by one of the greatest Flyers goaltenders of all time, Bernie Perrant, and captained by one of the best Philadelphia Flyers, Bobby Clarke, and one of the toughest Philadelphia Flyers, Dave Schultz and Bob the Hound Kelly. This Flyers team won the Stanley Cup in 73, 74, their first Stanley Cup in the history of the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers captured their first Stanley Cup, beating the Boston Bruins. In a deciding game, the Flyers won the game 1-0 as Bernie Perrant got the shutout in the deciding game as the Flyers captured their first Stanley Cup. It was bedlam on Broad Street as the Philadelphia Flyers fans celebrated with their beloved Philadelphia Flyers. And that is part one of the number one pick. Here is part two. The 1974-1975 Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers did more of the same that year. Bernie Perrant had a great year. Bobby Clarke had a great year. And the Philadelphia Flyers captured their second Stanley Cup in Flyers history, defeating the Buffalo Sabres. It was another parade down Broad Street as the Philadelphia Flyers, led by Fred Shiro, Bernie Perrant, Bob Kelly, Bobby Clarke, Reggie Leach, and a lot of other great Philadelphia Flyers players. The Flyers captured their second straight Stanley Cup in 1974 and the 1974-1975 season. And that is it for our countdown. Here is it for today's countdown. I will be back for my final thought. I will be back for my final thought. We're going to take a quick commercial break. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Sit tight.
Hey everyone, Timmy Flyersguy here. I just wanted to remind you about the Orange and Black Recap. The Orange and Black Recap will be making its return for the 2024 to 2025 Philadelphia Flyers season exclusively on the Timmy Flyersguy YouTube channel, my Instagram Timmy the Flyersguy 215 and the Flyers Extreme Facebook group.
And just like that ends another countdown here on the Flyersguys Top 10. This is my final episode of this season. We've had some great times during this season. I have introduced a lot of unique countdowns here on this list. You saw some beautiful women, some great moments, and some great foods, and great places in Philadelphia here on this countdown. After this season, I will be back. Since it's the final episode, I will be back in November for the next season. I am taking a break with the Flyersguys Top 10 until November. So everyone stay tuned as the Flyersguys Top 10 will be back sometime in November. I will be making an announcement in a future video. I'll be making an announcement in the I'll be making an announcement on the Timmy Flyers guy. I'll be making an announcement. I will be making the announcement about the date for the next season of the Flyersguys Top 10 next week on the Timmy Flyers Guy podcast. So check that out. Guys, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you in November. Have a great day, everyone.